Hello, and welcome back to Tells.
Are we going to mention what happened or no?
Well, this is not new, but we recorded an entire episode, and I didn't press record on the recorder.
You know it's been a while, and we are slightly out of practice if there's a major technical snafu. But life goes on. We don't need to dwell on that. Let's just go.
Andrew had to take an hour-long break.
I did. I needed to recover from that one.
Unbelievable. Aren't you more tired now? We just pissed away an entire hour when we could have just got right back on the horse.
Sometimes you just need to piss away an entire hour in order to recover from disaster.
It was not a disaster. You love that word. You love using that.
That's fine.
Disaster.
But it was. Life goes on, though. That's okay. I still love you.
Life barely goes on after a disaster.
Good news. You're still loved. And you look very pretty still. An hour later.
Please, can we not talk about my appearance?
What do you call this hairdo?
It's a double ponytail.
Is it?
Yes.
Double ponytail.
Double ponytail.
What about top knot?
If you want, yes, it's a top knot. Isn't it like a sumo wrestler knot?
Yeah. Kind of similar. Looks very nice though. Looks sleek.
Thank you.
Chic. Sleek and chic.
Thank you.
You can use that.
It's not a disaster.
No. Unlike this podcast.
This podcast is not a disaster.
I meant this recording process. But we go. We good. We carry on. We power through.
It seems like you're not getting over it. It seems like your life is not moving on since you're just harping on this.
Things happen in the content creation world, as I've experienced throughout the entirety of my content career. It's okay.
Okay, you're back in Las Vegas in these United States of America.
I am.
How does it feel to be back in America, Andrew Nemi?
It feels good. I'm not going to lie. It does feel good. What's wrong? You making sure we're recording?
I'm just making sure that your audio is good.
I thought you were seeing if my toenails were clipped. Anyway, it feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be back. 7.5 long weeks of nonstop tournament poker action, which is the longest, biggest amount of volume of tournaments that I've ever played in my poker career.
What did you miss the most about America?
I mean, it sounds like it sounds pretty weak, but just the general sort of like comfort level of being home and never having to like plan out anything about, how you're going to go about your day, whatever activities you might have planned for that day, and what words you need to make sure you know how to say in Spanish. So yeah, I'm sure that sounds pretty weak, but yeah, it's good to just not have to think for a little while and just be home and be comfortable.
Be mentally lazy.
Sure. Yeah. Even though that's like, it's definitely like one of the biggest, benefits of traveling in general is to get outside of that lazy comfort zone and like change your environment and be elsewhere that isn't home and easy. It's definitely like good to do all that, but yeah, it's good to be home and be comfortable again.
Did you listen to my solo podcast?
I did.
What were your thoughts?
I think you're a natural. That's my thoughts. I think you're just a content. You were just. It's a shame anytime you're not producing. I'll put it that way. That's what I think. So I'm glad the fact that I wasn't available and I was in tournament world. I'm glad that you didn't use that as an excuse to not produce.
What did I talk about since you listened?
Is this a test?
It's a test to see if you actually listened to my solo cast.
Okay.
You didn't listen, did you?
I did. It was a while ago, though. You talked about how it was something along the same lines of being in your own environment and how you need to make sure your experience is sort of tempered by other people's experiences, and you're not just like living your own experience, but the people that you interact with, you're understanding where they come from and their experience as well, and the world that they live in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the idea...
Did I pass the test?
Very, very well.
Like a C minus maybe?
C.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that just because your experience is valid doesn't mean that it's the only correct experience.
Okay.
Which is not always easy to do, right? Like a silly idea. Like if I go to a restaurant, let's talk about this Detroit pizza that you love so much.
Okay. Detroit style pizza?
Detroit style pizza.
Sure. Are we ordering some tonight?
Negative.
Oh, okay.
We had pizza yesterday.
Okay.
But, you know, just because you had an experience and you loved it doesn't mean Detroit style pizza is good. You know?
All right.
Because I could have an experience or not, maybe good is not the right word, maybe the best, right? Because usually it's
subjective.
Yeah, mine is the best. My experience, my outlook, my idea on this is the best.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that just because you had an experience where it was the best for you, it means that it is the best.
I'm a pretty good judge, though, of what's good.
In the pizza world?
Yes. Including the pizza world.
What else are you a good judge of what's good at? All these things.
Music.
Music
as it applies to scenes in vlogs.
Nice save. Nice save.
Anyway, are you saying anything about my experience in Mexico as it relates to what you were saying in the solo podcast?
No.
Oh.
Not necessarily, no. I was just making sure that you had listened to the podcast.
What if I hadn't listened? Would you care?
I would be slightly offended,
your
yes.
feelings would be hurt?
Yeah.
Because you would
Because you make me watch your live streams as a non-poker player.
I say, just tune in and let me know if I look handsome or not, baby.
Baby, I'm going live. You wanna catch that? I'm like, no, not really.
No? You don't want to watch all 6 hours of it? It is nice to just have you pop in and say hello, just so I know that it means something to you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll remember that the next time you stream. Did you get a count of how many tournaments you played?
I don't know how many tournaments I played. It was a whole lot of them. It was a whole lot of them. Yeah, more than I've ever played before.
Do you think it was over 100?
It was easily over 100.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That was a lot of tournaments.
Well,
I mean, the proudest achievement of the whole thing is to have not become an angry, depressed person after playing that many tournaments. Poker tournaments, you're going to lose money like 80% of the time or something. And that's as like a tournament specialist.
So how did you prevent yourself from not getting extremely angry? Because what did you say? It's about 15%, right? Your cash rate was 17%?
It's pretty close to 20%.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like 18%. I'm not sure the exact number, but
okay.
I was happy with that number, whatever it was. And how do you prevent that? I don't know. I mean,
since you didn't go to the beach, you went about, 3 times?
A handful. Small handful. Very small handful.
What, you went an animal handful? Because they don't have 5 fingers. You didn't even go 5 times, probably in 7.5 weeks.
I still got a little bit of tan, so that's all that matters. But I think you have to like maintain some sense of like surroundings and gratitude for, you know, the opportunities and what your profession entails, and that what it entails for me, and like chasing poker tournament glory and being able to make a living by playing a card game on computers is pretty sweet. And being able to travel to Mexico to do it is is a pretty sweet gig, but that's not to say that like I didn't really want to smash that mouse into pieces from time to time.
Well, you didn't because you didn't have an extra one.
Yeah, and my buddy Brad was there as well. So like it's kind of embarrassing to like tilt your face off when there's other people around.
Oh, so it's okay in front of me and that's it?
I didn't break anything when you were around.
I remember my laptop doesn't work quite the same way.
You're crazy.
You threw that Toshiba.
I didn't throw it.
Yes, you did.
Don't exaggerate. I might have hit it with a fist or something.
Okay.
That Toshiba is like 10 years old now.
So what?
So it's lucky if it even turns on anymore.
That computer works just fine as long as it's plugged into the power. Okay. So I had a question for you.
Yeah.
About dreams.
Dreams.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a dream that you'd like to share with the audience?
Maybe there is.
Okay. Will you share it?
Just any dream, huh? Like any personal dream of mine?
Yes.
Not like a dream I had last night.
No, not that kind of dream.
Okay.
Like a dream goal type.
The dream that comes to mind that's like a cross between professional and personal would be to have $1 million in liquid amounts.
$1 million.
Exactly 1 million.
Exactly.
No more, no less. All right, maybe more, but at least 1 million. Yeah.
Okay. And is that dream yours, or is that a fabricated dream that you have now taken on as your own, or like, a manufactured by media, society, and that you've now taken on as your own?
Well, I feel like the number 1 million has always, well, not the number 1 million, but like the phrase millionaire has always been like this sort of illustrious thing. That's like American dream phrase or word.
Mm-hmm.
That's always kind of like this fantasy for people that are trying to live the American dream. And so I'm sure there's like some sort of influence from society in general and like society and media put together. And then like, my parents were never millionaires, of course, when I was growing up or anything close to it. So I think like, yeah, there's definitely like some influences from those two things put together. I don't think I'm very like materialistic. I don't really buy things hardly ever. I don't even have a car right now.
You don't need a car.
Which is
where
shocking.
Are you going?
Shocking and disturbing.
Where are you going? You don't need a car. We have a car, and that's plenty.
Yeah, but it's yours.
So?
Where's mine?
You don't need one. Where are you going? You just want to leave it parked in the garage all day in and day out?
Yeah, that's true. I don't really need one when there's a PLandemic going on.
But we're not even going to go down that road, Andrew, with your PLandemic.
So anyway, yeah, I'm not really materialistic, but I would like to have a sort of large collection of dollars. And when do you know to like stop collecting if it's not at some particular number? The numbers below 1 million, I don't know, maybe like 500,000 is nice and round-ish, but 1 million, it's really like, it's got that nice ring to it. It's got the additional zero on there. And so I'm not saying that I'll be like completely perfectly satisfied with everything in life once I do get to that dream. But I guess it's like some sort of a goal or a dream to have.
And how do you know whether a dream is your own versus something that you see other people striving for and you think, oh, this seems like a noble cause
like,
or
this is what
a
I'm supposed to do?
Noble dream. Let me take this on as my own.
I guess you would have to check in with yourself and see if that dream sort of like lines up with who you are as a person and your personality. And I guess it just like takes some time to like think about where that dream comes from, like you said, and to see if it comes from, if it comes from a place of like influence based on either your upbringing or the media or something like that, and yeah, just spend some time with it and see if it's like a match for you and who you are and who you want to be. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I'm still curious. So who you are, right? So you're saying like you should know who you are and then plan your dream or dream in that. But how do you know? Because usually the way you find out that, because not everything that is out in the world is attractive, right? So sometimes when you see something, you're like, oh, okay, that looks kind of fun. I would like to experience that as well.
Yeah.
So do you judge it by how much effort is this going to take? And can I see myself doing that effort? Is that like a question that you should be asking yourself? Because you don't know exactly how much it will take to get to that dream. Right?
To get to $1 million.
To get, yes, to your dream of $1 million.
Sure.
So how do you know whether it's worthwhile? So do you say...
Because you have to start going down the path, right?
And then, but then if it's hard, do you say, well, that wasn't my dream? Or you know what I mean? Is it hard because it's not your dream? Yeah. Or is it hard because it's just a hard thing in general? And
I think it can change and probably will change over time, because for me, like the $1 million thing, it's generally meaningless. Like there's no real meaning to $1 million.
Right.
But what it's attached to is a sort of being able to do a lot of the things that you want to do, and being able to do them with people that you want to do them with without worry, and like without worry detracting from that experience. So like if I can maintain $1 million of liquidity, that's a pretty good amount of cushion underneath 1 million and zero, So like I would like to have a nice-ish house. It doesn't have to be massive, but if it's like nice and modern and comfortable, and as the space where I can like invite my friends and family over to, and we can like be together and spend time together, like comfortably, then that would be like the dream realized. And if I can do that without the cost of the house, the nice house, and like, some wine and, some nice food, and getting them there, like if they need help coming over, from other states or stuff like that. If I can do all those things without the cost of those things affecting the experience, then that's like the dream achieved, I think. And so as long as it's like up there, way up there, $1 million, there's a lot of cushion underneath there, I feel like, where it's going to be fine.
Okay. $1 million.
Yeah. What's your dream? 2 million?
More.
2.5?
Yeah.
When I first met Busi, she wanted to be obscenely rich. I can't remember what you called it. It was like FU money or something like that you would refer to it as. Maybe it wasn't exactly that, but something along those lines.
Yes, I think it was.
You wanted a PP is what you referred to it as.
That's right.
Which is a private plane.
Yes.
And you just like sort of assumed that that's like what you were going to do, is get like $1 billion. I'm
still young, okay?
Which is 1,000 times more than a million.
I'm still young. Yeah, because that is the antidote to not having, right? So
$1 billion? A private plane?
Yeah, well, I mean, similar to you, wanting to have a lot of money is to have experiences that money buy, right? It's not just to have a bunch of money and just like count it every night. That's ridiculous. Because I didn't have money. And the thing is, there were times that we had money and then we didn't have money. So it wasn't like we always only had small amounts of money. I saw that large sums of money could also just disappear.
Sure.
So I wanted to have so much money that the likelihood of it disappearing is like so low.
It doesn't like enter your mind.
Right.
So you think the cushion needs to be bigger than that million to zero?
Because
you still think so?
I do, because you want to be able to take risk too, right? Because there's a part of you, or let me talk for myself. There's a part of me when I have a certain amount of money, then I want to hold on to having that level of money, and then will therefore take less risk, because if I take risk, say I want to take a risk for 50,000 and I have, 100,000.
Yeah.
That's half.
Yeah.
And that risk could pay off 4x. So if you have a big cushion, then yeah, you can take the risk, and so what? Because there's so much that money is earning on itself as it is, and then you have the ability to take risk and make more money.
Okay.
I think it is, just like the idea also that the money is what gives you that comfort and safety.
So we have the same dreams. I'm just going to retire before you do, and you'll keep chasing your dream.
I guess so.
You sad about that? Because you want a partner? You want help?
Yeah, I want you to do all the work.
Oh yeah, all the work.
Yeah.
You just want the rewards.
I just want to be cute.
Well, you got a good start.
No, but I think it's better if you're doing it with somebody else.
Yeah.
Because then there's not going to be an argument or a fight about like, what are you doing? The goal is the same.
But I'm glad to hear that we are still on the same page. We just need to sort of like probably chat about it more often, I think.
And what your dreams are,
well,
and whose dream it is.
Yeah, exactly how much money you need to achieve your dream, because we know mine is 1 million exactly.
Yeah, but aren't you going to just get tired once you reach your 1 million? While I still have multiple millions to go.
Will I get tired of working?
Yeah. You just be like, I've reached 1 million.
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see. Tune in.
But then, what if it never happens?
If we never get there?
Yeah.
We will.
Will you still be happy?
We will. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm just...
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on I'm pretty happy. I probably could be happier right now, but I think I'm generally like above 50% happy. So I'm like more happy than not.
Okay.
But probably could be happier and need to like still sort of like take stock of the progress that's been made, especially like over the past few years.
Yeah.
And recognize that. And really like sort of like bank on and build off of that happiness and that progress.
Moving to America, even though that was like the sole goal, right? Like make as much money as possible. America makes you soft.
Okay.
It's counterintuitive because there's so many things that do work that you think that all this extra time that you don't have to worry about, like silly things.
Like what?
I don't know. I mean, even like, people complain about government agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're slow, but government agencies worldwide are slow.
Mm-hmm.
But in the US, it's like not quite as slow as, say, maybe if I was in South Africa trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. But also it's not super easy for everybody.
Yeah, but even in comparison, like I grew up getting water in a bucket from the back, right? Like I don't know which child has had to do that. Maybe they are.
Not me.
For a majority of Americans, those like basic, sure, you might not live in the nicest house. You might not have like mountains of money.
Did it like collect rainwater?
No, it wasn't rainwater.
Oh, okay.
But you know what I mean? Like there was lots of things that were physically hard.
Yeah.
And you come to America and it's like, oh, I don't even have to think about that.
Sure.
You know, like just even catching a taxi. Here, what do you do? Catch a taxi.
Well, now we have Uber.
Yeah, you have Uber. But in South Africa, you have to know the signs. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the wrong place.
This is like where you're going?
Yeah, this is town, uptown, downtown.
Mm-hmm.
This is local,
Yeah.
right? Uptown.
You do this? Or you just do this?
Depends. There's lots of different like there's one place called Orange Farm.
Yeah.
This is the hand sign. You put up your hand like you're holding an orange.
It's an actual orange farm?
It's called Orange Farm. The area is called Orange Farm. I think they farmed oranges.
Yeah.
And this is the sign to get to Orange Farm. You put up your hand like you're holding an orange and the taxi driver knows where you're going.
Yeah, this is easier.
So, yeah, I mean, so I thought for sure that I would have, because all these things are taken care of, I can just like be laser focused on this one thing. But it's also hard to just go all in on one thing all the time, right? So then you start watching Netflix and you're like, oh, this is nice. You know, you get a little bit more comfortable and you're like, oh, America's quite cushy. So in that regard, I think it's made me a little bit softer than I was when I first moved to the US. Which
How do we fix that? Soft.
Be understanding that the progress is also made in the boredom, because there's a lot of times you just want to be like on all the time, you know, on and hustling. But I think there's a lot of grunt work that is necessary. That's kind of boring. Like I told you, I mean, even with comedy, right? We've spoken about this. My life in South Africa was so exciting all the time. And now I'm just like, it's not quite as exciting. You know, you get hyped up by the news because, you know, you got to get excited about something. But I think that's where a lot of work is done. It's like in that quiet, dull, just like grind, which apparently you overuse per somebody in your
the
comments.
phrase, the term. I overuse the word grind apparently, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's like it's in the details of how many minutes out of the day that you're using and utilizing to the maximum potential, right?
Right, but also not thinking that you always have to be at your edge. You know, there's a lot of work that can be done just. But you know what I mean? Like if you think of an MMA fighter, they're not fighting to knock you out. They're not training to knock out the person they're training with every day.
No.
They're like working on, you know, certain kicks, or they're working on a certain jab or whatever. But it's like that incremental small, so that when it's time, you're ready.
I need to get ready to knock some people out.
Okay.
Anybody who needs it. That's what I want to be able to do. Give someone a good smack.
That's violence.
I said if they need it.
How do you determine?
Just giving the people what they need, you know?
How do you determine if somebody needs a smack?
You can tell.
Yeah? By what?
By what they're doing.
Okay.
If they're being annoying, you know, being a bully, being threatening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to move this conversation along.
Yes.
Are you on holiday now that you're back from Mexico post WSOP grind? Usually we go on, you know, a holiday at this time after the World Series.
I didn't think about that.
So are you on holiday?
I can be if you want me to. but we hadn't thought about it, or I hadn't thought about it. I forgot about like a post WSOP, you know, holiday that we usually took. I mean, one time we went to Mexico, so that feels a little weird. But I guess we don't have to be anywhere in particular to be on holiday.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of drive, you know, so even though it was like a semi-absurd amount of tournaments that I just played through the WSOP, I still don't really feel burnt out necessarily. I still feel eager to like learn more, especially about tournaments themselves. And haven't made a live poker video since March, so that itch is growing.
I'll let you use my car, don't worry. If you need to go to
thanks.
the Bellagio, I'll let you use my car.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of want my own car. But thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm on holiday. Do you want me to be?
So this movie watching of yours is not holiday?
This movie watching, yes.
You saw 2 movies.
I've seen
this
2
week,
movies. Yeah.
Which is like you see 1 movie a year.
Well, yeah, I went to the movies to see one, and then we watched Back to the Future. Thank God Busi's finally seen Back to the Future.
I think some of the themes in that movie are a bit problematic, but here we are.
You want to mention that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little strange to go back to the future and fix your wimpy dad and make your mom skinnier.
Fix your family issues.
Yeah. Just
rather than solving them in the present.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or just vowing to do different.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, it wasn't like the to be fair to the movie, the classic film Back to the Future, it wasn't the initial intention to fix the present when they went back to the future and everything started happening, but it was like
a byproduct.
Yeah, it was a byproduct. But it started out with the initial scenes of the movie with like the family being in sort of like disarray.
What do you think the professor's desire to go back to the future or any date in time was?
What was his reasoning for wanting to?
Right.
Well, he just wanted to prove that he could. He was an inventor.
So he wanted to.
It was his goal. It was his dream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't think that dream was influenced by anybody because he was the only nutty professor chasing that dream in the movie.
But anyway, we are in a much better place now that Busi's seen Back to the Future 1. We need to see 2 still.
How do you figure we're in a better place?
Because I feel better about it.
Okay.
I don't feel right if you haven't seen a lot of these classic films as an American couple.
Okay.
So Indiana Jones needs to be visited.
Oh dear. I've seen Beetlejuice. Don't make me watch it again.
But there's plenty others, I'm sure. Well, maybe not plenty others, but at least others.
Okay.
So anyway, congrats to Busi for finally seeing Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox's finest work. What were we talking about?
You being on holiday.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I saw Tenet. That was confusing. But I don't know if I'm on holiday. I mean, if we're going to be on holiday, we should agree to be on holiday. And for how long?
Okay. We did go on a date last night.
We did.
So that's kind of holiday-ish.
Downtown Las Vegas date.
It was an impromptu date. You were just projecting your itch to go outside on me and saying I was moping.
Yeah.
I was not moping.
Yeah, you were kind of moping around the house yesterday.
I wasn't moping.
All quiet.
A girl can't be quiet?
Not without something wrong in your life, no. Usually not, unless you're meditating or sleeping.
So I'm never quiet
trading.
unless I'm meditating or sleeping?
Or trading or editing.
So that's a lot of time to be quiet.
All other times, no. That's a lot of other time to not be quiet.
So did you feel badly that you had to take me out?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
yeah,
I wanted to go out.
Okay.
It wasn't just for your benefit. But I'm glad we did because we got some pizza.
Yes. First up, we went on a sort of downtown...
little bar hop, sort of.
Yeah.
So Evil Pie, first stop.
Most bars are restaurants at the moment.
That's true.
Or
Yeah, everywhere.
Restaurants.
It's got to be. They have to be serving food in order to stay open during these PLandemic times.
Baby.
I don't really think those things. I just think it's funny. Anyway,
you just like the word PLandemic.
It really rolls off the tongue. PLandemic.
I think there's a documentary we have not watched. But
anyway, is Evil Pie your favorite pizza in all of Las Vegas? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Definitive yes.
Definitive yes. Well, I mean, two reasons: ease of access and variety.
Variety of pizzas.
Yeah, they have great vegetarian pizza. meaty pizza, whatever you want, cheesy pizza. And the dough is sweet and delicious.
Okay.
So, yes.
Everyone's really nice there. They usually have at least a good couple of beers on tap and fantastic slices, like 10 different pizzas you can get by the slice. I guess it's probably my favorite as well.
Copycat.
I do like the Detroit style pizza over at Good Pie, which seems to be at a new location. Not positive yet, but seems to be the case since it's not open yet. Anyway, that was stop number 1.
Stop number 2 was an attempt to go to the new mezcal and tequila bar called Lucky Day.
Yes.
Apparently, you need a reservation. So it's similar to the Laundry Room. If you've ever been to Laundry Room downtown, it's in, what is it? Commonwealth. The Laundry Room. Yeah. It's a speakeasy where you need to text the number to get a reservation.
Yeah.
And they'll let you know if, one comes up.
Yeah.
So if you are coming to Las Vegas and trying to get some mezcal or tequila, Lucky Day.
Yeah, we can put the name of the place and the number right here, maybe.
No, not until I got myself in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we better try it out first.
And then...
So from there, we attempted to go to Carson Kitchen, but that was also very, very busy. So instead, we made our way over to Sip and Tip, I believe it's called.
That's right.
That's right.
I think so.
Okay.
Sounds right. But it's attached to the
downtown cocktail room.
There you go.
Yep. So the food item over there, which you have to get if you're going to step inside, as mentioned, is the bratwurst, which I enjoyed.
I thought it was good. Yeah. And there's vegan one too. So if you are so inclined, you can get pork brat?
Guess so.
Or a vegan brat.
Could be anything, really.
With sauerkraut and...
Could be any animal. We wouldn't know the difference.
It's disturbing.
Pretty cool vibe in there. Nice and dark. I like a good dark bar.
Mm-hmm.
We were serenaded by a vocalist who reminded us that she was a vocalist several times.
Yes, that's why she knew the lyrics to every song.
Yeah.
So -2 for that experience.
But generally fun, I would say.
Yep.
And then we weren't done yet. Took the rented bikes, the bike share, all the way down to, what is it called?
Able Baker.
Yes, Able Baker. Attempted to go there.
That was busy too.
Yeah, that was a little bit too busy. So instead of waiting for that, we walked a block and a half backwards to a new establishment called Nevada Brewing Works. Nevada Brew Works.
I think so. We didn't drink any of their beer, right? I had an Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I don't think they have the full operation up and running yet as far as the brewery. Since it's brand new, I guess beer takes time to make, maybe.
But they do have an entire menu of bar food. So pizzas, pretzels.
They did have a big sort of like outdoor space, where there's like a lot of space between the tables. So,
okay.
It's kind of like important during a pandemic.
Baby.
Oh, sorry.
That's your new thing now. Where did you even...
I don't know. Anyway, that was fun. So favorite part about the evening, I think, was just being able to utilize the bike share, ride the bikes in between every stop or different parts of downtown.
Definitely the highlight.
Yeah. So I guess we're just paying like $5 a month recurring charge.
For the time being. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's going to go up.
Until they jack up the prices without telling us. But $5 a month for unlimited 30-minute rides on bikes that have racks all over downtown Las Vegas. There's one, I think, by the Stratosphere and one by the Sahara, but that's like as deep into the strip as it goes from here, which it's kind of hard to ride a bike on the strip anyway. So
yeah. There's no really bike path.
Right.
So
there should be, but there isn't. But it's fine because we like downtown Las Vegas, don't we?
We do. We love downtown Las Vegas. Okay, so we get to a little bit of listener feedback from B.
B?
Got a message from
All right.
B, and so last week I recorded the solo podcast that you apparently listened to
very attentively. Yes.
So I was talking about the thinking about thinking.
Yes.
And so B was saying that she has a lot of feedback about all the different podcast topics. So, by the way, we have a telephone number that you can text 702-690-9299. But
all right. Fire off a text if you're so inclined, or a call. There's a voice message box as well.
Yes.
Voicemail box.
I would love to get a voice message.
Yeah. If you want to make an appearance here on Tell's podcast, or if you would like your voice to anyway, leave a voicemail or just shoot a text, either way. B, go.
One of the many problems with the current climate is that otherwise intelligent people are experiencing information overload. Social media is delusional and should not be news.
Social media is delusional and should not be news.
Yes.
Like people saying things, or what?
No, so I was saying that I sometimes struggle knowing what to believe because there's so much information.
Mm-hmm.
And so my solution to that is being to go and say, how do I actually think? How can I learn to put together thoughts which become ideas that are not going to lead me astray, right? Because very easy people, like you've seen the cults, very normal people have been led down the path and end up drinking Kool-Aid.
Indeed.
And you're just like, how did it happen?
Yes.
So that was the antidote for myself. It's like, okay, I'm going to try and remind myself how to think and how to think logically so that I can take in the information that I receive and say, okay, who is benefiting from this information, putting out this information? Why is it relevant to me? Like sometimes it's not relevant to you and you should just move on instead of getting sucked in.
Sure.
Like Andrew does on Twitter.
I'm better though. I've sort of like I've fortified my walls between me and Twitter.
How? Share.
I've shielded my well-being.
How?
By preparing for battle when I open the app, knowing that it's going to be a war happening that does not involve me.
What sort of armor do you put on to shield yourself?
It's just that preparation, It's because I think before when I would open up Twitter and expect to maybe learn a thing or two about what's happening in the world right now, I would go in naively and expect to be picking up some conversations and hope to see some engagement back and forth and see some something that's like more beneficial, I guess, than what it actually is, which what it actually is more along the lines of someone says something rather like definitively in their mind, and then someone else says something rather definitively in their mind,
right? And
there's never any sort of
nuance.
Yeah, there's no nuance, but there's also like no sort of questioning or desire to learn,
right? Because
on both sides of the conversation.
Yeah, usually if you do ask a question, it's met with, do your own research, read a book. Oh, okay. Yeah. So why did you put it out there if you weren't trying to engage in conversation? I think you put it out there so you can get validation that this thought process is correct.
Yeah.
And this is why I do not participate in Twitter, because I never feel right anyway, except sometimes with you. I'm like, yeah, I see I was right. But in general, I always doubt the thought. And I'm like,
yeah,
is that true?
Sure.
So I don't even bother putting it out there a lot of the time because I'm just like, I don't know, man. That sounds kind of kooky. I mean, it sounds fine to me in my mind. And then as I start typing it, I'm like, really?
Yeah. So it seems like even even if it is the case, like it must be the case that somebody learns something some percentage of the time.
Sure.
But they'll never admit to it. They'll never say, you know what? Interesting. I never thought about it that way. It looks like I learned something here today. Thank you for enlightening me. They just sort of vanish.
I've never seen that.
It sort of is, the conversation eventually stops. There's never any sort of like tie up and like, or rarely, there's rarely like a handshake at the end, a tweet shake. It's more like just verbal sparring. And then you sort of like wander in there naively thinking like, okay, well, this is going to be useful to some degree. And then by the time you're spent like 20 minutes on Twitter, it's like your heart rate is increased. Your agitation level is increased just because you're witnessing all this like back and forth. That's like, a war going on. It's not good. So you got to be prepared when you open that, when you tap that app, you got to let yourself know this is what's going to happen when you start reading these tweets. You're going to sense it. Your body is going to go through some changes. You're going to get that elevated agitation. And this is why. So it's good to know these things going in.
Okay, that's how you armor yourself to...
Unfortunately, there's no, maybe aside from Reddit, which I don't spend hardly any time on, it's only the real, like, sort of home base for discussion,
I think Reddit is probably a little bit better because it can be long form.
Well, it's moderated, right?
It is moderated, but it can be long form. So your thought is not 280 characters because nobody expects long form on Twitter. There's been plenty of times that I found a thread, right? Because people announce thread.
Mm-hmm.
And I save it in the bookmarks and I never go back to it because thread.
The thread is the new blog, it seems.
I know, but that's if I have 5 minutes and I'm scrolling through Twitter, I'm not stopping to read your 50 tweet thread.
What if I wrote a thread? Would you stop to read it?
No.
No?
Not if I wasn't planning on reading it. Like if I didn't have the time to just read your whole thread. And then I forget about it. So in Reddit, it's like a full blog post. Okay. So straight away, can I read this or not? So.
Okay.
I don't know.
Kind of insulted, but whatever.
I read your tweets from time to time.
I'm going to make a thread.
Okay.
And you're going to read that too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think that's it. I think that's all we have time for on this episode of Tals. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are listening, you can write to us. hello@talspodcast.com. And if you are watching, you can leave a comment down below. And if you are watching and listening and don't want to leave a comment or write an email, send me a text, 702-690-9299. And just to make sure, this is not community. You will not get a text that says, please confirm for such and such so that you can chat with such and such. We're not selling your telephone number to anybody.
So I was going to say, I don't think anyone really knows what community is, but that's
community fine. Is this.
Don't worry about it.
Scamdemic.
It's not us. All right. That's about it.
Okay. And we will see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.